especially when we get to SEC play. But on the defensive side of the ball, Jay, who is the most underrated? We'll discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in, subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jay, who has been the most underrated player on the defensive side of the ball for Oklahoma during the spring?
So we talked about this in the green room a little bit. And one of the things that I noticed is, especially when we're talking about the underrated players, it's been quiet. Like, we haven't heard a lot on the defensive side of the ball, besides really the conversations around the new players, which I understand because, you know, they're the ones we're looking at. We've seen some of the other players for a while, but one player that kind of jumped out to me a little bit that we heard some stuff about, but not a lot, truth be told, Sammy Omosigo. It sounds like he's picking up everything that's been put down. Coach Nate Drilling has really got him going. And I know that we probably expect for it to be Kip and Kobie starting the season off, especially with the size of Kobie. He's built kind of like a Danny Stutzman, a little bit quicker, but really good at the run stuffing. And then Kip's going to go run around and do the thing that Kip does, you know, because Kip's going to be Kip. You get a Kip 6 here and there or whatnot. So we're not concerned about him as much. But I think Sammy Omosigo is going to work his way into getting some of those minutes with Kobie McKinzie, especially because he played a lot of critical minutes last year. He played some cheetah, especially when Dobie went down. But you start to see them shift him more on the inside linebacker spots. And honestly, he looked pretty solid. Wasn't perfect, you know, grades were okay, but the one thing you recognize out of him is that he's picking up everything and things are starting to come naturally to him. And so, John, if I think someone is going to be really underrated next season, maybe Sammy Omosigo. He may end up getting in there. He may steal a lot more time and snaps than expected and become a breakout player.
He's got all the tools to be a dynamic force in the middle. He's super athletic. He's fast. He's smart. He's physical. What else do you want from a linebacker? Now, I think they've got a really nice trio at linebacker with those three. So if they wanted to run a 3-3-5 sometimes with Sammy as one of your linebackers on the inside and running a nickel package with your defensive backfield, I think that's possible. If they wanted to run a 4-3 traditional base with those three guys as linebackers, I think you've got something to work with there. Now, typically they run a cheetah as their third linebacker or their fifth defensive back, but Sammy Omosigo's athleticism gives them so much versatility, gives them a lot of options that they can do a lot of different things with in their back seven. So I think it's really intriguing to see how he's going to step up. Even if he just plays that third linebacker role, he's going to get a lot of snaps. I mean, Brent Venables, since that 2022 season when he played, Danny Stutzman, David Agwebu, and Deshaun White, almost 1,000 snaps each. Like, those three guys almost got 1,000 snaps each. And I think there was only two other players that played more than, I want to say it was Deshaun White at linebacker that season. He played so much. Since then, he's really he's built up the depth at linebacker, Brent Venables has, and he's made sure to get those guys snaps because that's the only way they're going to develop. He even came out after the 2022 season saying, I really wish I'd have played my young guys more because there were opportunities to get them snaps, but we didn't give them those opportunities. So I'll be excited to see what Sammy does. Again, he'll get a bunch of snaps. Will he start? We'll see, but he's going to get a bunch of snaps. For me, this one has been really intriguing because I love our safety group. I think the safety group is going to be one of the strengths of the team with Robert Spears-Jennings and Peyton Bowen and Reggie Powers III and Michael Boganowski. But I think one of the guys that is kind of being slept on is Jaydan Hardy. Anytime people talk about the safety room, they generally mention those first four guys that we talk about. But some of the buzz out of spring ball, you listen to guys like Teddy Lehman and Gabe Eichert who got to go out to practice. They were really impressed with what Jaydan Hardy is capable of. I mean, he's one of those guys that can play that traditional free safety spot, play that middle third in a cover three defense. He can roam sideline to sideline. He can be a ball hawking safety. So I'm really intrigued by him, man. He's got good athleticism. He's got good size, and everybody just says he's a gamer. Like, he brings it every time he's on the field and just goes about his business. Like you were talking about in the previous segment, like they're just a dude that just shows up to work every day and gets to work. And so I'm excited about him, man, because I think he offers something a little bit different, especially with Reggie Powers shifting more to cheetah, Michael Boganowski being more of your box guy, the guy that's going to be that big safety, playing more of a hybrid safety linebacker role. Jaydan Hardy's that guy that can cover that middle third and be the Billy Bowman, or be a guy that can go take the ball away. And that's what you're looking for, right? Is guys that go take the ball away. And I think Jaydan Hardy's got that potential.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. And that has been the heavy buzz, is that Hardy is fighting hard to get snaps away from Peyton Bowen. And, Peyton's our 5-star that we expect to do something. And if Hardy can fight and take some of those minutes and play, we already know that he's going to find a way to get to the ball. Hell, his first game at Oklahoma, he got an interception. Just like his first game in high school as a freshman, he got an interception. Like that's like the thing about him. I think his first game in middle school, he got an interception. And so it's like it's continuing on. Now the question
came
is,
out the womb and he got an interception.
Came out the womb, he got an interception. Let's see if he can do that also at the NFL level, if he can make it there. But no, that's the point. He's been able to find the ball, and at that spot, that's something you can use. And so he likes to hit, I know, but the buzz, like you said, there's been some buzz about him just showing up and showing out. I kind of would be intrigued to see if he ends up taking that next step and taking over. Hopefully Peyton Bowen becomes that dude. I know that was the thing Billy Bowman said. He kept saying that he's ready and it's now his time to do that. All right, show me, Peyton. Show me that you that dude. We expect you to be that dude. Show us you that dude. Eli showed us he's that dude. Now you show us he's that dude. You that dude. If that's the case, then secondary, all I know is Brandon Hall deserves a raise because that dude has done everything we've ever asked for, because that secondary is loaded.
Yeah, it's loaded. One thing that's intriguing, man, and I think we haven't heard enough about this group, and that's the defensive end group. Outside of R. Mason Thomas and Marvin Jones Jr., who we've talked about a bunch, it's what's next? Who's that next guy in that defensive end rotation that's going to step up? Is it going to be a Danny Okoye, a PJ Adebaware, Taylor Wine, Nigel Smith, Wyatt Gilmore? Like, which one of these guys is going to step up and take a significant role? Because I think it's still very much a toss-up as to who that third, fourth defensive end is going to be.
Yeah. And that's the big question, man. We're in a situation similar, honestly, to last season and the season before, where you got R. Mason, you've got Ethan Downs, you've got, Trace Ford, Cade Woolard, last year and even the year before, you had a lot of veterans at the edge, and you're like, okay, now who needs to play in what positions, what packages makes the most sense for these certain players to play. And I think you've got that now here. Marvin Jones, R. Mason Thomas, Danny Okoye, and then, like you said, PJ Adebaware. If you can get them ready and good to go in certain packages, have certain packages where each one needs to play, certain pass packages, certain run packages, and be able to mix and match them, which it appears you can do that. Yeah, the edge should be pretty ruthless, because we've seen them have their moments. We've seen them have those times where they've been a problem for others. They just got to keep it up. I think we can get to that point.
Got to have somebody step up. I mean, you got to have a secondary pass rusher opposite R. Mason Thomas, and then you got to be able to send waves at these quarterbacks in the SEC. And the only way that you can do that is if these guys, Danny Okoye, Adepoju Adebaware, if they can step up and provide that tertiary or that secondary pass rush for the Oklahoma Sooners. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and available on every podcast platform and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button over there and that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, over on YouTube. You can follow me at John9Williams, and you can read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. You can follow the show at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Have a great weekend. Boomer
Sooner. The underrated list is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, though, John. we've got some players.
Got some players. It's too deep.